Imagine filling a bookshelf with books. You carefully arrange them, but once the shelf reaches its limit, you can't add any more books, no matter how much space you still have around you. Frustrating, right? This is the challenge we face with arrays. Arrays are fantastic for implementing abstract data types like stacks and queues, giving you quick, constant time access to elements. But arrays have one major drawback: they're fixed in size. When the data grows, you hit a wall. The array can't stretch beyond its original capacity. Now, what if your bookshelf could keep expanding, adding books no matter how full it gets? That's where linked lists come in, offering dynamic memory allocation that grows and shrinks as needed. Welcome to session 11, where we explore how linked lists solve the limitations of arrays and give you the flexibility to manage dynamic data in real-world systems. There are many types of linked lists, but let's start with the simplest, the singly linked list. A linked list is a dynamic data structure where each element is a node. Unlike arrays, linked lists don't need a fixed size, allowing us to expand or shrink memory as needed. Each node in a singly linked list consists of two parts: data, where the actual information is stored, and a pointer, which points to the next node in the sequence. The first node in the list is called the head node, and it serves as the entry point to the list. The last node is called the tail, and its pointer is always null, indicating the end of the list. While this structure is flexible, there is a drawback. A singly linked list is one-directional. We can only traverse it from the head to the tail, which means you can't easily move backward. Now, how do we access the linked list in the first place? That's where the head pointer comes in. The head pointer is a special reference that points to the head node, allowing us to start traversing the list. Without this head pointer, we should have no way of accessing the list, since we can only navigate forward one step at a time. The head pointer is your guide. It always knows where the linked list begins. Let's explore the three main operations of a linked list: insertion, deletion, and traversal. We'll walk through each operation from an ADT perspective, break down cases, and analyze the time complexity. First, let's dive into insertion. Linked lists allow for inserting nodes in three different ways: at the beginning, at the end, and in the middle. To insert at the beginning, create a new node, point its next to the current head, and update the head pointer to this new node. This operation is very efficient, taking constant time, big O of 1, because it only requires updating the head pointer. Next, inserting at the end involves traversing the list to the last node, creating a new node, and updating the last node's next pointer to point to it. Here, insertion takes big O of n time, where n is the number of nodes, because we need to traverse the entire list to find the last node. To insert a node in the middle, traverse the list until you find the desired node, create a new node, and update the pointers to maintain the list structure. Like insertion at the end, inserting in the middle also takes big O of n time, as we need to find the target node first. Next, let's discuss deletion. There are three scenarios: deleting the head node, deleting the tail node, and deleting a node from the middle. When deleting the head node, you simply update the head pointer to the next node. This is a constant time operation, big O of 1, because it only involves adjusting the head pointer. Deleting the tail node requires traversing to the second to last node and updating its next pointer to null. This takes big O of n time, as you need to traverse the entire list to find the second to last node. When deleting a node from the middle, you find the node just before the target and adjust its next pointer to skip over the node to be deleted. This takes big O of n time, as you need to traverse the list to find the node before the one being deleted. Finally, traversal involves visiting each node in the list, starting from the head and moving to the next node until you reach the end. Traversal takes big O of n time, as you need to visit each node exactly once. Now that we have covered these operations, you can see how linked lists offer flexibility over arrays, but come with their own considerations of time complexity. Imagine a node in a linked list like a small container. Up until now, we've been placing just one item in it, keeping things simple. But what if we need to store more than one piece of information? Let's dive into a polynomial to see how this works. In a polynomial, each term has two parts, a coefficient and an exponent. One node can easily represent one term by holding both pieces of data. Take the polynomial 5x squared plus 3x plus 7 as an example. This expression can be broken down into individual terms where each node holds two values, a coefficient and an exponent. Now let's see how to add two polynomials. We begin by initializing two pointers, head 1 and head 2, at the start of each polynomial's linked list. In each iteration, we compare the exponents of the terms pointed to by head 1 and head 2. There are three possible outcomes. 1. If the exponents are the same, we add the coefficients. 2. If head 1's exponent is greater, we copy the term from head 1. 3. If head 2's exponent is greater, we copy the term from head 2. Whether we are adding coefficients or copying a term, we create a new node in the result linked list to hold the term. This node becomes part of the resulting polynomial. We continue traversing both polynomials, comparing the terms pointed to by head 1 and head 2 and repeating the process until one or both lists are fully traversed. When one of the linked lists is fully traversed, we append any remaining terms from the other linked list to the result. These remaining terms don't have matching counterparts and can be directly added. Once both linked lists have been fully traversed, the head of the result list, head 3, points to the final sum of the polynomials. One limitation of a singly linked list is its one-way navigation. You can only move from the head to the tail, not backward. To overcome this, we have two important variations, circular linked lists and doubly linked lists. In a circular linked list, the last node does not point to null but loops back to the first node, forming a circle. This allows continuous traversal in one direction. In this structure, you never encounter null as the last node address loops back to the first. This is perfect for tasks like round-robin scheduling or music lists. In memory, the last node's next pointer forms a closed circle by pointing to the first node. Next up, doubly linked list. Unlike singly linked lists, doubly linked lists allow traversal in both directions. Each node contains two pointers, one to the next node and one to the previous node. With bidirectional navigation, you can move forward or backward through the list. This makes operations like insertion and deletion more flexible and efficient. A doubly linked list is perfect for tasks like browser history navigation, where you can move back and forth between web pages. While circular linked lists are great for continuous cycles, doubly linked lists provide flexibility for forward and backward traversal. Each variation solves specific limitations of singly linked lists. When it comes to implementing abstract data types like stack and queue, you can choose between arrays or linked lists. Each has its own strengths, but linked lists offer more flexibility. In a stack, we follow the LIFO principle, last in, first out. With a linked list, nodes are created dynamically, so the stack can grow or shrink as needed. Push and pop operations happen at the head of the list in constant time, big O on 1. You don't need to worry about size limits unless memory runs out. With an array, you face a fixed size which could lead to stack overflow if the size is exceeded. In a queue, we follow the FIFO principle, first in, first out. Using a linked list, nodes are added at the tail during queue and removed from the head during dequeue, making it dynamic in size. Both enqueue and dequeue operations happen in big O of 1 time. Since the size isn't fixed, you don't need to manage capacity or worry about space limitations. In both stacks and queues, linked lists offer dynamic size, constant time operations, and no need to manage size constraints. They're especially useful for dynamic data management. Linked lists offer a flexible and dynamic alternative to arrays, especially when memory management and resizing are important. Unlike arrays which require a fixed size, linked lists grow and shrink as needed. The flexibility of linked lists comes at the cost of extra memory for pointers and slightly slower access times compared to arrays, which offer big O of 1 access. For dynamic data structures like stacks and queues, linked lists are excellent choices where size changes frequently. Thank you for joining us today. Stay curious and keep exploring. Happy coding!